Hello and welcome back to another great episode of Being Well, the program that strives to bring consciousness and awareness to humanity and wants to make a positive contribution. My name is Marianne and I will be your host. We have a great lineup for you today. First, we will have a look at allergies. Teal Scott will give us an interesting point of view on what causes allergies and how to cure them. After that, it is back with Cooking with Aliyah, and she will show us how to make smoked salmon and avocado egg rolls. After that, it is time for yoga as always, and we will show you some beneficial yoga postures to help you through the day. Finally, we have a thought-provoking short film on facial disfigurement, so don't go anywhere and enjoy the show with us. It is now time for the lovely Teal Swan. She will be sharing with us her interesting point of view on what causes allergies and how we can cure them. Take a look at this.
Hello everyone, today I want to talk to you about allergies. There is a vibrational discord at the heart of every ailment. Sometimes that vibrational discord shows up as a sore throat. Sometimes it shows up in the body as cancer. Other times it shows up in the body as an allergy. If we struggle with allergies, it means that we have become desensitized to the discomfort of our thoughts and to the discomfort of our emotions, to such a degree that our body had to become sensitized. If we have allergies, we have been stuck in negative emotion and simultaneously believe or have believed around the time that the allergy developed that there is no resolution and no answer to changing those emotions for the better. Because of this, we deny our own power. We also feel, or have felt at the time that the allergy appeared, that it was not appropriate to express those emotions. The suppression of those emotions, whether it be fear, weeping, sadness, hurt, or anger, builds up until it manifests through our body. If you could pay attention to how you felt and made that the number one priority of your life, so as to follow what felt good, you would spend your time predominantly in alignment. And if you spent your time vibrationally in alignment, it would be impossible for you to be a match to any ailment. Your body would have to come back into alignment. You could not have anything like an allergic reaction. It's not about what you're eating or what you're spending time around. It is your belief about those things that cause the allergy. And we can believe things on a conscious level and a subconscious level. If we have an allergy, we have a thought pattern that is out of alignment with whatever we are allergic to. There is always some kind of trauma or fear at the heart of an allergy. This trauma or fear could be the result of subconscious emotional blocks, or the result of fear that we experience relative to the subject of whatever we're allergic to. Trauma and fear can be caused by so many things that it's not possible to create a one-size-fits-all remedy to solve allergies. You can create symptom relief, but creating symptom relief and creating healing are two different things. For example, I could have had a negative experience with cats when I was a baby, in many cases so long ago that I don't even remember it, and so now I fear them, and so now I develop an allergy to them. Or, I do not believe that becoming allowing and relaxing brings things to fruition. In fact, I think that allowing and relaxing means that I will fail and be rejected by everyone for that failure. So when I'm around the allowing, relaxed energy of a cat, I feel resistance towards it. And that extreme level of resistance causes my body to have an allergic reaction. Another example is, I'm afraid of conflict and negative emotions, and so I go to great lengths to avoid both. Sage is a neutralizing energy. It is used to neutralize conflicts and negative energies, which is why people use it to clear houses and facilitate harmonious conversations. But because it holds a vibration that confronts and neutralizes energy, I cannot harmonize with it. I want to run the other way. So now I have developed an allergy, which is a vibrational incompatibility, with sage. Many children come into families who reinforce the belief that the world is not safe, and so they develop allergies to reflect that belief in their incompatibility with the world at birth. Many parents who maintain this belief that the world is unsafe tend to be hyper-clean. This is why so many children that are born into over-sanitary homes develop allergies. As people, we like to tell the short, abridged version about where illnesses come from. That's because most of the modern world adopts the Newtonian model of physics, which looks at the world in terms of only physical structure. But this is an issue because it's a limited way of looking at illness. It's a limited way of looking at anything. When we say the genetics is what causes an allergy, it's the same as saying the light bulb is what causes the light. But the story of where the light comes from started way before the part of the story which involved that light bulb. We like to tell the story that allergies are genetic, and we like to tell the story that allergies are caused by the specific pathogens that enter our body. This is a very limited way of telling the story. The real truth is, thoughts are what's creating reality. And your thoughts are what is making it so that you have a resistance to one thing versus another thing. It just so happens that thought patterns occur in families because you adopt the vibration and the thought patterns of the people you spend the most time around. So if you spend a lot of time around your family, as most of us do growing up, it's only natural that we would adopt those thought patterns and that those thought patterns would reflect in similar ways throughout our body. This is why, when people are adopted, they actually show the same likelihood of developing cancer as somebody who is a genetic byproduct of those family members. That means, regardless of whether you're genetically related to somebody or not, you're just as likely to get that same chronic illness that runs through that family. It's because we're adopting thought patterns. It's not because of the limited physical story of genetics. Everything holds a vibration. If we do not harmonize with something, it is because that thing holds a vibration that does not resonate or harmonize with ours. It's a vibrational incompatibility. But what creates that vibrational incompatibility is thoughts. You will notice that when you are thinking a thought that's holding you out of alignment, you are drawn together with foods and animals and pollens and materials that you believe are out of alignment for you. When you are in alignment, you are drawn together with foods and animals and pollens and materials that you believe are in alignment for you. And for many people, when they are drawn together with things they believe on a subconscious or conscious level are bad for them, the body's natural defense mechanism, which is the immune system, releases histamine, which triggers an inflammatory response in the body. The reason this histamine reaction so often affects the bronchial tubes and lungs, you've seen this in the characteristic "I can't breathe" allergy attack, is that breath is the doorway to life. If we think life is dangerous, we don't want to take life in. So that manifests in the body as not wanting to take in breath. So here are some tips that will help you to find relief from your allergies. The first is, you want to hydrate yourself. Make sure that you drink alkaline spring water or artesian well water, not tap water. You want to make sure that you drink this throughout the day. Allergies indicate that the body has increased its production of histamine. In a well-hydrated body, foreign agents that cause allergic attack are neutralized quickly without the body needing to create an exaggerated increase in histamine. Histamine is the cause of so many of those nasty symptoms that you associate with allergies. Histamine activity becomes exaggerated in a dehydrated body because the toxins within the body are high. So carry water with you all day long. On an energetic level, water holds one of the highest vibrations, next to source energy. Potentially the highest vibration next to light itself. So it holds one of the highest and one of the most allowing energies that exist on the planet. Spending time around water means that you have to resonate and match the frequency of water, so you will move into an allowing space. And allergy is the byproduct of resistance. So if you harmonize with water on an energetic level, you can't be a match to the resistance which is causing the allergies which you're experiencing. Try bioresonance therapy. I've had several clients which swear by this technique, but I want to warn you in advance. The mainstream medical American community thinks that this is quackery and pseudoscience. So don't be surprised if you find all kinds of articles like that about this particular therapy. But I think you all know the sentiment that I hold for mainstream medical community. I don't respect it very much, except for when it comes to acute injuries, physical injuries. It's very good at that, piecing parts of a mechanical organism back together, but it is very poor when it comes to chronic illness. Most of the promising studies relative to bioresonance therapy have come from Germany and other European countries. So basically, I think it's worth a try. It is used to erase the vibratory cellular memory of a particular antigen. Thus, it annuls the body's allergic response to that antigen altogether. The next thing you can do is cleanse your liver. Your liver detoxifies your body. A person who has allergies is resistant to their environment. They feel that they need to defend themselves against it, and the manifestation of that defense reaction is an overactive immune system, what we call the allergy attack. Your liver is so important to the function of your immune system, I can't even stress it enough in this video. Improving your liver will help your immune system to balance itself out. The immune system can function without creating an exaggerated histamine reaction. Allergies are one of the main reasons that people do liver cleanses. Most of you know that my favorite liver cleanse is offered by Andreas Moritz. It's called the Amazing Liver and Gallbladder Flush. It's important to do liver flushes in accordance with the directions of that liver flush exactly. Liver flushes are not a minor cleanse, they're a major cleanse. They can be likened to doing internal surgery without the use of a knife. And it's important to continue doing these cleanses over and over again until you rid your body of intrahepatic stones. I can't stress to you how amazing this particular technique for solving allergies is. Think about having a pool for 20, 30, 40 years and never cleaning the filter. Now imagine what happens when you do clean the filter. That's essentially what's happening in your body when you do a liver flush. The next tip is you could burn 100% pure beeswax candles in your home. Some people choose to do this in their home throughout the entire day. Here's the theory as to why this works. Burning beeswax produces negative ions. Negative ions purify the air. Essentially, airborne particles are attracted to the electrode in a similar way that static electricity works. Then they seek an earth conductor, such as walls, floors, or ceilings, and cease to be floating around in the air. Remember that these candles must be 100% beeswax. Most beeswax candles contain only half beeswax, and the rest is a dangerous toxin called paraffin. The next suggestion is make some modifications to your diet. Cut milk, wheat, especially white flour, and meats, especially red meat, out of your diet. Eating foods that are not designed for human consumption stimulates your immune system to protect itself. Your body perceives them as a threat to homeostasis, and so it becomes inflamed. It releases histamine. The immune system is put into hyperactive mode. When it does this, you are especially prone to developing an exaggerated histamine response relative to all kinds of things. Pollen, animal dander, grasses, other foods, you name it. The next tip is use neti pots daily and gargle with salt water. Flushing your sinuses and your throat area with salt water will decrease the inflammation response in your body. It washes out mucus, and it also gets rid of the antigens that are already stuck in your upper respiratory system. Drink peppermint tea and green tea. This is one of the oldest remedies for allergies. It's a detoxifier, an anti-inflammatory, and a decongestant. The next tip is eat honey that's produced by bees in your region. This is especially helpful if you have seasonal allergies or pollen allergies. The bees transfer pollen from flower blossoms to honey, and honey is full of enzymes which help to metabolize that pollen. So if you eat a little honey every day, you'll gradually become inoculated against the irritating effects of pollen. The next tip is use colloidal oatmeal for skin irritations that are caused by allergens. It is particularly good for hives. It doesn't only soothe skin, it also protects it from irritants. The chemicals found in oats reduce the skin inflammation caused by these allergens. Use cold potato slices for swollen, puffy eyes. Slice raw potato and lay one slice over each of your eyes for a few minutes. For up to 10 minutes, you could repeat this by slicing new slices of the raw potato and putting them over your eyes so that you're rotating a new slice and a new slice for a period of 10 minutes. This decreases swelling and tightens the skin around your eyes. The next tip is, don't just accept the physical explanation and the surface explanation as to why you're allergic to what you're allergic to. Do a little digging to find out what it is that you're really resistant to about what you're allergic to. Learn all about what you're allergic to. Look for your trauma and your fear relative to that thing. Then release resistance to that thing the same way that you would release resistance to any other thought. I'm going to demonstrate how this process works relative to my own allergy, to cilantro. To me, it tastes like industrial cleaner. When I was young, I would often accompany my childhood abuser when he would pick up cows from dairy farms and take them to the slaughterhouses. So I spent a lot of time around the slaughterhouses. And I didn't know at that time that the illegal immigrants got jobs there because that was the only place that would hire them. To me, I was just an 8-year-old child who opened the door and walked in on about a football field length of tables that were all lined with Mexican men that were covered in blood and cutting up parts of cows. To me, because I didn't have that larger understanding about why they were in this particular job, I just looked at them, and all Mexicans, to tell you the honest truth when I was younger, like they were a barbaric race of people. They scared me to death. It didn't help that later in my teen years, the men who were more sexually aggressive came on to me and made sexual advances while they were covered in all of that slaughterhouse gore. So I developed a serious aversion not only to Mexican culture, but to slaughterhouses and everything that I associated with that experience. Now, cilantro was not a food that was eaten in my house growing up, so the first time that I had an exposure to cilantro was when my mother carted me unwillingly to a Mexican restaurant. And when I tasted that, I associated it with Mexican culture, and I associated Mexican culture with that experience in the slaughterhouse. So that same sensation of fear came up, and my body developed a defense reaction to it because of that memory. Every time I was exposed to cilantro, my body recalled the memory of being exposed to those men in the slaughterhouse, and my body reacted as if it had to defend itself against those things. So now, when I eat cilantro, my gums get irritated, my mouth swells up, and I get itchy. Finding out what is at the core of your resistance to things is absolutely essential to healing from them. Awareness is everything. It's the first step out of being inside the vibration of resistance. So even being aware of the fact that the cilantro aversion came from that primary experience I had with Mexican culture allowed me to release resistance to cilantro itself. I still don't enjoy it, but I don't have that same allergic reaction. Now it's only the taste I don't like. At the core of allergies is a belief that there are good things and bad things. If you were to see the food or animal or pollen or material from a perspective of source, which is pure positive focus towards everything, you could move the vibration relative to that thing into a different space. This means if you know that you have an allergy to something, improve the way you're thinking about it. This doesn't mean run out and expose yourself to that thing. It just means that the more positive you feel towards that thing, the less your body will react to that thing with an attitude of having to defend itself against it. And it's important to remember that if you have decided that you have an allergy to something, you've increased your level of resistance to that thing. It means that you have more fear about that thing. And so your reaction gets worse and worse and worse. So it's very important when you're looking to heal from allergies to improve the way you're thinking about those things that you're allergic to improve the way that you're thinking about life in general, and to think empowered thoughts relative to the thing you're allergic to. If you do this, if you change your thoughts relative to whatever you're allergic to, or relative to whatever it is about the thing you're allergic to that bothers you, you will feel symptom relief relative to the allergy, and what's more than that, you can potentially completely cure it. Have a good week.
Hello and welcome back. Today's recipe will surely please the taste buds. Aliyah is going to show us how to make smoked salmon and avocado egg rolls. Enjoy!
Hi, this is Aliyah and welcome back to my kitchen. When I go to a Chinese restaurant, I usually like to order egg rolls because they remind me of barewet. Barewet are the Moroccan egg rolls that we shape either as a cigar or as a triangle, and we fill them up with meat, chicken, vegetables, and so on. The last time I went to a Chinese restaurant, I found a really interesting egg roll. It had smoked salmon, avocado, and something else. So I came back home, tried the recipe a couple of times until I got it. And of course, today I'm going to share it with you. It's a very simple recipe, but it's made to impress. If you want all my written recipes, go to my website at cookingwithaliya.com. Also check out my Facebook, I'm very active there, send me comments, questions, I will answer you. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming recipes. If you have an iPhone or Android, yes, Android, you can now download for free my app Cooking with Aliya. So let's start!
First, we are going to cook the onion. Drizzle half tablespoon of olive oil in a skillet. Add a grated onion, 4 garlic cloves crushed, and 1 teaspoon of ginger paste. Basically, take fresh ginger, peel it, then grate it. Mix well. Add a pinch of salt. We are not going to add too much salt because smoked salmon is already salty. Cook the onion on medium-low heat until all the liquid is evaporated and the onion becomes dry. It will take around 15 minutes. Place the onion mixture in a bowl and let it cool down before using it. I am using egg roll wraps, but feel free to replace them with warqa, which is the famous Moroccan pastry that has an amazing crunchy result. Check out my video with Paula Walford on how to make homemade warqa, or you can use phyllo dough. If you use phyllo dough, remember to brush each sheet with melted butter before rolling it. Place the wrap down so that it looks like a diamond, and place the filling diagonally on the wrap. First, layer the slices of smoked salmon, then add avocado slices and a bit of the onion mixture. Fold the bottom corner over the filling halfway, then fold the sides towards the center to cover the filling. Roll the wrap from the bottom as if you were rolling a carpet. Then brush the edge with a bit of water and seal. If you are using warqa or phyllo dough, use egg wash to seal the roll. There are 2 ways for cooking the egg rolls. You can either bake them or fry them. To bake them, preheat your oven to 400 Fahrenheit degrees, which is 200 Celsius. Place the egg rolls in a baking pan covered with parchment paper and brush them with olive oil. Bake until the egg rolls become golden brown. To fry them, heat some vegetable oil in a deep skillet. When the oil is hot, place the egg rolls in the skillet and fry them in all sides until they become deep golden brown. Once done, place the egg rolls in a paper towel and pad to absorb all excess oil. And that's it! Serve the egg rolls immediately over a lattice bed. You can serve them as is or with a sweet or spicy sauce. Bon appétit! Hello and welcome back. Today, yoga instructor Molly is going to take us through a yoga sequence that is great for the reduction of tension in the neck, shoulders and back. It is also great to build upper body strength. The sequence is ideal for beginners, so take a look.
And today I'm going to lead you through a yoga sequence that will be helpful for the reduction of stress and tension within the neck and shoulders and the lower back. This is also going to be helpful for building strength within the upper body and lower back body. And the sequence is beginner friendly and useful for all levels of practice. And at any time that you'd like to pause this video and spend an extra few breaths working with any one of these postures that I'll offer, I invite you to do so. So we'll begin today from an all fours tabletop position. You can meet me there. And if you would like to pad your knees with a blanket or a pillow, go ahead and position that underneath your knees for a bit of padding. Position your wrists below your shoulders. Bring your knees below your hips with your ankles and feet at hips distance. And then reach your crown and tailbone nice and far away from one another. Now, as you press deeply down into the earth wherever you meet the earth through the 10 fingerprints and the tops of the feet and the shins, use that connection to the earth and the clear foundation that you've set to find even more space between the tip of your tail and the crown of your head, finding clear alignment. Now from here, start to move and follow your breath as you lift just the crown of your head with your inhale, opening gently into the throat center through the cow pose. Now with your exhale, slowly arch into a nice deep forward fold. This is known as the cat pose. With your inhale, return to your cow pose, your little baby micro back bend. Then as you exhale, allow your hips to reach back and down to your heels, your forehead lowers to the earth. Relax the shoulders here. Now inhale, rise once again into your cow pose, little baby back bend. And as you exhale again, take a nice deep arch through the back body for cat pose. Inhale and make sure that the lower back is supported here. You want to make sure that you're not dropping the belly. Keep those deep belly muscles toned to help protect the lower back. And then with your exhale, you can release the lower back as you sink into a pose known as the child's pose, Balasana. Once again, inhale, lift and lengthen through cow pose. And then exhale, press deeply into the earth as you arch into your cat pose. Inhale back through cow pose. And here our hips sink to heels as we find rest in child's pose. Now from here, if you're ready, you can just stay for several breaths. You can also continue through that sequence just a little bit longer until your body feels nice and warm and ready for the next pose that I'm going to offer you. Now from child's pose, with your next inhale, slowly lift up into your cow pose. This is where we're going to change it up a bit. As you exhale, soften your elbows towards the earth and just lift your knees an inch or two. Shift your weight back, straighten your legs, and release the crown of your head low. This is a pose called downward facing dog. Bring your knees to the earth with your inhale. As you do, lift the crown of your head for cow pose. And then uncurl your toes. Take a nice deep arch into the back body for cat. And again, inhale through your cow pose. Now exhale, sink your hips to your heels, returning to child's pose. Try to relax the shoulders and elbows here. And as you inhale, each time bring it back into cow pose. Now again here, we're going to transition into our inversion, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. But continue for another couple of rounds. Inhale, cow pose. And then deep arch as you use the earth. Press deeply down and draw it into the mid-back. And then support the mid-back as you inhale. Make sure you do not sag the belly. Keep the deep belly muscles toned here. And as you exhale, use them to draw your weight back and down and surrender, child's pose. Let's do this one last time. Inhale, our heart and throat opener. And then here as we exhale, we release the goodness of our thinking mind below the compassionate and loving heart. Inhale, knees to earth. Lift and open, but keep the belly muscles strong and supportive. And use them as the belly muscles draw in and up. Press deeply into the earth and take a deeper cat pose here. Inhale, lengthen through the spine as you lift the crown. And then back and down for child's pose. Again, if you would like to take rest and just stay, feel free. Otherwise, as you inhale back to your cow pose, with your exhale, go ahead and take it back through what's called puppy pose into Adho Mukha Svanasana, our downward facing dog. Now, once you are here, check in with your breath. Make sure that you have not lost that nice, calm, even breath that you began your practice with. Notice the head and what's happening there. You may want to gently rock your head yes a few times and then no a few times. And then from here you can just rock your hips from side to side, kind of like you're wagging your tail. And then if you'd like to, you can bend one knee and then the other, or just walk in place. And just move energy and breath and awareness through the backs of the knees as you open into the calves. And then settle back into the stillness of your downward facing dog for another couple of breaths. As you are ready, inhale, bring it down and find cow pose. And then exhale, take a nice deep arch into cat. Inhale through cow pose. And then as you exhale, bring your toes together, separate your knees, and sink your hips to heels, lowering your forehead to the earth. And if your forehead does not touch the floor, you can bring your hands or forearms underneath your forehead for support. But just allow for your shoulders to relax fully away from one another. Broaden the space through the back of the heart. And you can just rock your hips from side to side as you sway down between the legs. You can roll your head from side to side and massage into the area across the brow, along the forehead. And then just take another several breaths here in your child's pose.
And we'll begin as we had previously, just starting with our foundation, wrists below shoulders, knees below hips with ankles and feet at hips distance. Press down into the earth and then reach the crown of your head and tip of your tailbone away from one another. Now with your next inhale, slowly lift the crown of your head up for your cow pose. As you exhale, round deeply as you arch into the back body for cat pose. Inhale back to cow pose. This is a very gentle baby back bend. And then as you exhale, release your hips to your heels as your forehead travels down towards the earth. Child's pose. Inhale back to cow pose. Now from here, let's travel through our puppy pose to downward facing dog. Let's go ahead and pause here and stay for, let's say, anywhere from 5 to 10 breaths. So you can always pause this video at any time. Take a few additional breaths if I don't have you here as long as you need to be. So take from it what is right for your practice. Now let's bring it back to cow pose with an inhale. And then exhale, uncurl the toes, press deep into the tops of the feet, shins and fingers for cat pose. And then inhale, continue to press into those same points to help support you through cow pose. Now here, as you release back, you can bring the feet together, knees apart, forehead to earth. It may feel nice for some of you who are holding a lot of tension in the upper back and shoulder area to bring the knees together, drape the arms alongside the body, and then release your forehead. If your forehead does not touch the earth, you can always bring hands and forearms below. Take another several breaths here. And then slowly bring it up to hands and knees. And this time, position your hands just out in front of your shoulders towards the top of your mat. Now from here, with your next exhale, bring your shoulders over your wrists. Pause here in a little modified half plank. And then inhale, let the hips move towards the back of your mat like you would for child's pose. And again, exhale, bringing it forward into a little half plank pose. And then bringing it back with your inhale to child's pose. One more time, in and out, match the movement to your breath. If you're ready to stay in child's pose, that's optional. You can take rest here and just release. Otherwise, go ahead and bring it back to your modified plank. Keep the shoulders over your wrists. Now from here, reach back to the ball of your left foot. Reach back to the ball of your right foot, coming into a full plank, a push-up position. So you don't want anything sticking up as you would in downward dog, but you don't want anything to drop down as you would in a back bend. Try to lift your hips up towards the height of your shoulders. Reach the crown of your head forward, and then roll your heels back. Your hips will drop just a little bit, but you don't want your belly to sag.
You want to keep those deep belly muscles toned in and up to help support for your lower back body. And if you're not finding that support here with your knees up, bring your knees back to the earth and continue with your modified plank pose. Now, as you are ready, move from your plank position back to your inversion. This is downward facing dog. We'll stay here for another several breaths. You can rock your head. You can wag your tail. And again, you can kind of pedal out the feet. Settle back into stillness. Take another final breath or two here. And then inhale to cow pose, little baby back bend. And exhale, take it back and down for child's pose. Let's do that again. Inhale to all fours. Keep the hands slightly out in front of the shoulders. And then exhale, bring the shoulders over the wrists. Again, inhale, the hips can travel back. Just building strength and fluidity here within the shoulder girdle. Go ahead and do that once or twice more, in and out with your breath. When you're ready, hold in your modified push-up position. Reach back to the ball of your right foot, then to the ball of your left foot. Now keep the back of your legs strong. Push the heels towards the wall behind you. Reach your heart and the crown of your head towards the wall in front of you. And as before, if you need to, lower your knees. Do so and then find your breath. Take a few more. And from here, as you are ready, transition back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, our downward dog. Take your final few breaths here. When you are ready, just bring the knees down for that little baby back bend. Open the throat. And exhale, take rest. Balasana, your child's pose. Today I'm going to lead you through a sequence that will be helpful for continuing the building of strength through the back body as we've been working with. So if you'd like to, you can refer to the previous two videos, and that'll give you all the basics that you'll need to catch up with where we are now. So meet us in a hands and knees position, a tabletop pose. And again, if you'd like to, you can pad your knees with a blanket or even with a couple of blankets. I think I'm going to leave that out of the way for today. Now, as you set yourself up in a nice, strong tabletop position, press down into the earth and then follow your next inhale to cow pose, your little baby back bend. As you exhale, take a nice deep arch into your cat pose, forward fold. Inhale, back through cow pose. And here, our hips sink to heels, forehead to earth for Balasana, our child's pose. With your next inhale, bring it back up into your cow pose. And then from here, position your hands just in front of your shoulders. And exhale, bring your shoulders just over your wrists. Now reach back to the ball of your right foot, then reach back to the ball of your left foot. Position your feet at hips distance. Now, as you bend your knees a couple of inches, soften your elbows, not to the side wall, but more towards the back wall or down towards your mat. Now keep the knees just hovering, and as you press from your heart down through the 10 fingerprints, just straighten the arms, move your ears between your upper arms, relax your head, relax your shoulders, and then straighten your legs, downward facing dog. Stay here for another several breaths. You can always pause this video if you'd like to and take a little bit of extra time within any of these postures. Now, when you are ready, bend your knees and your elbows, again, not to the side, but towards the earth. You're going to straighten your arms and legs at the same time. With an exhale, push forward and find plank pose. Now pause here, and then inhale, soften your joints, shift back to puppy pose, and do it again. Exhale, find your plank pose, and then inhale, shift your weight back. One last time, in and out with your breath. And then as you find your way back into plank pose with your exhale, pause. If you need to lower your knees, do so. But again, make sure that you're not finding yourself in a back bend. You don't want the pelvis to be sinking down heavily, and you don't want your hips to be sticking up. Try to find that nice neutral, balanced position where you're connecting the crown of your head down through the tip of your tailbone, and then from that point, pressing back through the heels. Last breath here. Inhale back to downward facing dog. Exhale, settle into that pose for another couple of breaths. Inhale to cow pose. And as you exhale, sink your hips to your heels, return to child's pose. And from here, if you'd like to, in child's pose, you can bring your hands or forearms underneath your forehead. And after several breaths, with an inhale, come back up to hands and knees. As before, position the hands just in front of the shoulders. Bring your shoulders over your wrists with an exhale. Inhale, step back to the ball of your left foot. Exhale to the right foot. Pause in your plank pose. Then soften your joints and inhale back to downward facing dog. Now we're going to move in a wave-like position or an unrolling wave-like action as we move forward into plank pose. Here we're going to soften the joints just as before, but we're going to tuck our tail. Now the back of our body is going to move forward, but the head is going to stay low. And then as the shoulders come over our wrists, the crown of the head will float into position. Let's try it again. Inhale back, and then exhale, just try to roll like a wave forward into plank. Again, as you soften your joints with your inhale, push into the balls of the feet, exhale, straighten the arms, and just let the crown float up, heels back. Pause for another few breaths here, and then take it with an inhale, back to downward facing dog. Exhale, settle into that pose. Take a few breaths. And then inhale, bring it to cow pose. And just as before, exhale, hips to heels. Now, if you'd like to, the knees can move together for support of your chest. You can drape your arms back along your body. And also visit me at my website, primalearthyoga.com. Namaste.
Hello and welcome back. How do we see ourselves? Another grey hair, maybe another wrinkle, and we feel dispirited. But something we don't think about every day is facial disfigurement. But this is a reality for a lot of people. In the next short film, we will hear how people who live with facial disfigurement deal with social situations. Take a look at this.
My name's Henrietta Spalding. I head up our professional development programme. We work with a range of professionals in health, education and employment. And really our remit is to help them understand a lot more about disfigurement and the impact that that has on individuals in their daily lives.
You might not notice what you're doing, but I do.
Nightclubs and places are like really bad because people are drunk. And sometimes they're like really offensive, just stare, point, get their mates to do it, which is just really unacceptable. It's just like, I'm out for a good night, leave me alone. And then you get just the people that are really nice to you, but in a really patronising kind of way. And, you know, that's kind of uncomfortable, because it's just like, well, don't talk to me like I'm stupid, because I'm not.
Well, a lot of people tell us that they feel that they lose some of their social anonymity. So when they meet somebody for the first time, they might ask quite an upfront question, like, what happened to your face? Or why is your nose like that? Why is your eye like that?
You can never guarantee that people are going to behave in a certain way, and I think we often find with our clients here at Changing Faces that the experiences that people have vary from staring at people who look unusual, who look different, maybe name calling. It can obviously dent somebody's self-confidence, and you know, if you're recently recovering from surgery and are just starting to go out and about again, then that actually can be very devastating. And certainly, you know, we will see people here who very rarely go out of their homes because they've had some bad experiences, and they don't feel good about themselves. To achieve a harmony, if you like, it needs to work on both sides. You know, we're certainly not saying here that it's all up to society. You know, the person with the disfigurement does need to learn a set of tools and strategies to manage society and to manage themselves.
A lot of the help I got from Changing Faces was geared towards, you know, how to cope in these social encounters, how to handle people who may be staring or commenting. Because, you know, staring, a lot of people make a big deal of it. It's just, a lot of the time, staring is as a result of just people's curiosity. And so there are ways of dealing with that are, you know, that are confrontational but in a non-hostile, non-threatening way. And it's learning those things that really enabled me to kind of get my confidence up and really just handle things a lot better and just conduct myself in a manner that I was happy with.
If you're getting unwanted attention, so for example, if somebody's repetitively staring, you could meet that with a very simple assertive response. So saying something like, I can see that you're staring at my scarring, but it's making me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Can you stop doing that, please? But with people that you're meeting for the first time, that you're likely to meet again in other social situations, being friendly, being very socially skilled, making eye contact, for example, are often ways that let people know you're okay.
If it's just someone who's, you know, curious or being, you know, a tad condescending, I just try to engage them in a conversation. You know, if there's a track that I particularly like that's playing at the time, you start talking about the track and then the band. If it's at the bar, you know, just get them like a shot or like a soft drink or something and have a chat with them. It's just a case of, you know, in that situation, just like show you're not gormless, you know what you're talking about, and that you're an approachable guy who's not, you know, stereotypical of what they believe you should be like. The media does indeed, you know, it paints people with like facial disfigurements as like Bond bad guys or cartoon bad guys.
People make a set of assumptions about people with disfigurements in terms of their intelligence, their life expectation, even their quality of life.
There are often assumptions that surgery can cure all, and I think that's partly due to the rise in cosmetic surgery in celebrity culture. So there's often an assumption that there's no reason why you should have a disfigurement, and a lack of understanding around that.
Often these assumptions are ill-formed, if you like. They're faulty, and they're based on a set of myths or stereotypes that people have about disfigurement, which are often reinforced by the type of society that we live in. So we all are bombarded with images of very beautiful people, whether we, look in magazines or whether, we watch the movies from Hollywood, and, people are always very beautiful. There's a very subtle equation that to be successful and happy, you need to be beautiful. And if you are less beautiful, i.e. disfigured, then maybe you don't even have the chance.
Well, that's it for today's show. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Remember to follow your passion and live your bliss. Take care and be well.